Hello, Over the Peak people. Right, let's get this over with first. Let's have a go. Dum bum ba dum bum ba dum ba da 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 dee da dum. Okay, right. That's the end of that. Right. First slide up, the Huddle, US Department of Housing and Urban Development, and their official blog. HUD Region 10 Public Affairs Proud Ground, a non-profit based in Portland, has been in the home ownership business for 13 years, and it has lots to show for it. Proud Ground has helped Oregonians like Kelly Jarrell, a grandmother, who recently bought her first home, a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, 1,600 square foot home in the Mill Park neighbourhood of Portland. Kelly is the 150th homeowner Proud Ground has helped to acquire a piece of the American dream. Sad. She is, explained Proud Ground Executive Director Jesse Beeson, a perfect example of who we thrive. She's worked in the same field for 10 years. She has a steady income. She had a savings plan, he said. So, it's all going to be all right then. Gran's going to pay a mortgage off and live the American dream in her 1,600 square foot home. It's possible. Washington AP. As summer beckons, it seems Americans are thinking more about the stifling costs of energy than about making tracks to the beach. Well, that was the American dream. Cutting energy bills and use is a bigger deal to them than taking the vacation or scoring the latest smartphone or tablet, according to some poll. Ask people to choose priorities. Not even 1 in 5 ranked a summer trip or the latest gadget as a priority, while majorities said reducing electricity use and making homes energy efficient are more important things to do. But in typical American fashion, by far the highest priority was having a reliable set of wheels. In other words, buying a flashy new car to keep up with the Joneses. But the priorities are shifting, and will shift further. And they'll shift further as this grinds on. Doug Short chart. Red is nominal DPI per capita, DPI disposable personal income, which the red we don't need. We want the inflation adjusted number, which is in blue. And you can see it's as flat as a flat thing. And that's important, that it's not going to go up either. Since 2007, it's marginally down. But it's not going up at all. So there's going to be no spare dollars for extra things. This is quite an interesting chart, and I quite like the delicate colours. This is what American households are spending their money on when it comes to BTUs of energy. Over on the left there, we have the northeast, around New York and places like that. And the biggest area of spending is space heating. In other words, heating is the biggie in the northeast and in the Midwest. I was quite surprised about that, but shows I don't know much. And obviously in the south and the west, Gran, who's Oregon, she's up in the north. Oregon's the top left, isn't it? So it's probably a bit higher than that because it's kind of not California west. Oregon's a bit northwesterly. Gran in her new house is going to be pumping out a bit more money into heating probably. But the south and the west don't spend that much on BTUs of heating. The next up, the pinky sort of number, is air conditioning. So down in the south, obviously, you've got a bigger wedge of air conditioning to take into account. And what you have to do when you're working out where you're going to move to avoid all these crises that are going to come and try and kill you, that's going to be a very important factor. You want to move obviously to a temperate area Water heating the same, obviously, it doesn't really matter. Refrigerator is pretty much the same, and other appliances pretty much the same. So it's very much the temperate climate that you will want to look for. This is a similar looking chart. I think it's from the same website. Colours not so pretty, bit dirtier looking. And now this is people that have gone through high school. They've checked themselves officially out of high school, having gone through it all, but have not gone on to college. Now in 2006, 2008, what did they do after leaving high school? Well, you can see the sludgy green at the top left there is what they mainly did. They went into the military. And then the other things were spaced out. But let's have a look what they do now, only a few years later. The main areas are those red areas at the bottom, which is unemployed and not looking for a job. At the bottom, the darker red. Unemployed and looking for a job is the other red. Now that, to me, is a pretty sad situation. Now you stack on top of that the pink is a volunteer. In other words, they're doing work but not being paid. Then you've got the two blues, which are part-time work, which is obviously, well, I would think obviously not what they want. And then you've got the military, which has been shrunk down, and self-employed, which is just about zero. April consumer credit up by its lowest in 6 months. So we're talking the overall global United States consumer credit. The Fed new numbers are out. Washington Market Watch, US consumers increased their debt in April by a seasonally adjusted $6.5 billion, the smallest increase since last October, the Fed reported Thursday. This is the 8th straight month gain in consumer borrowing. The increase in April was just more than half the roughly $11 billion gain expected by Wall Street economists, who seem to get everything wrong. The report also included revisions to reflect improvement in methodology. And if you're going to look at these figures, the new debt figures, give it a month, because they've changed them completely, and it's going to take a bit of looking into to see exactly how they're falling. But credit growth in March was revised to gain 12.4 billion compared with initial estimates of 21 million. All of the increase in April came from non-revolving debt, such as auto loans, personal loans and student loans. That's nonsense. All the increase in April wasn't in credit cards, it was in non-revolving debt, and it was not in really auto loans or personal loans. It was all in student loans. With these three categories combined for a 10 billion jump, credit card debt fell 3.4 billion in the month after a 3.7 million increase in March. Student loans are the only thing that are making the US credit debt figures still buoyant. Number 7, I think this is, isn't it? And we're going to do a run from a nice presentation on student debt. Going back to the year 2000, you can see credit card debt in blue went up until the Great Recession, and then has come down and is trying to claw its way back up again, but it never will. But student debt has just gone up and up and up, and is now through $1 trillion. Price changes. Now, because these loans are being pumped out, let's just leave it at that, there is demand for the product that this money has been allotted for. So college and tuition fees have gone up from 1985. These are percentages on the axis there, and they've gone up over 500% since 1985. And that's because the loans are given out and the people are willing to spend the money so readily. Whereas medical care, that we all know has gone up so much, has only gone up 300 and something percent. College tuition fees over 500%. Even gasoline prices are only up 300%, and generally all consumer items up about 200%. While student debt grows, wages stay stagnant. In 2006 to 2011, average debt for new graduates is up 28%, but the median weekly earnings of graduates is only up 10%. 85% of college students move back home after graduation. It's not inspiring, is it really? And finish with this, 14% of graduates delay marriage because of student debt. Who cares? But in an overall socio-economic picture, it's important probably. And 21% of debting students delay having children. It's just stunting the growth of the adults. When do you call an adult an adult? I don't know. But if they can't get down and marry and have children like they used to in the old days, things have changed is the basic thing. And the bottom line obviously is, unlike other debts, student loans cannot be shed in bankruptcy. The picture overall, Gran and the students, all of that sort of stuff is America's going nowhere. The blah economy is not nearly enough for these old patterns. And basically the whole thing will fall apart because there is not nearly enough growth to keep this going. It's just a shadow of what it used to be, and it's only really pretending to limp along. And unless something severely changes in the future, it's going to be less than blah and then downhill. Sorry, Gran, but you probably won't be staying in your new 1,600 square foot home. Bye.